Hey everyone, Ben here. The world is accelerating towards renewable energy. So in this video, I'm going to reveal my top 2 solar energy stocks. I'm going to do a deep dive valuation and a full comparison between these two companies. This is really going to be a video where I'm going to be diving into those juicy financials in a deep and very advanced way. So I hope you guys are strapped in, buckle up and get ready for this video. But before we dive right in, if you're new around here, feel free to join the investing family by hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on. If you do find any value in this video at all, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. That helps out tremendously with the YouTube AI. And if you guys want to know exactly which stocks I'm buying, which stocks I'm selling, and access my entire portfolio, and join a thriving community of some of the finest people on the internet, then feel free to check out that first link in the description below for the VIP membership group. And with that being said, let's dive in. So what's so special about the solar industry? Well, this industry has some major tailwinds behind it because most countries will tend to convert to either wind or solar in the up and coming years. So according to Allied Market Research, the global solar energy market was valued at 52.5 billion in 2018, and this is projected to reach 223 billion by 2026. That's a compound annual growth rate of 20.5% in the next few years. So you can expect many companies in this industry to also have that tailwind from the industry growth behind them. And that's great news for us, potential investors. But then of course there's the elephant in the room, and that is Joe Biden and his immense bullishness on renewable energy. So diving onto Joe Biden's website, joebiden.com, the Biden plan is to build a modern, sustainable infrastructure and an equitable, clean energy future. Biden states, at the moment of this profound crisis, we have the opportunity to build a more resilient, sustainable economy, one that will put the United States on an irreversible path to achieve net zero emissions economy-wide by no later than 2050. And then across the pond in the UK, we also have Boris Johnson stating build back greener, and that's his pledge to actually build the country back in more of a green and renewable energy manner. So what are my top 2 companies in this space? Well, the first company is First Solar. So ticker symbol for this company is FSLR, and they're on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. Now, what first interested me in this company is I actually saw some major value investors actually buying shares in this company. For example, we're here on Guru Focus. This is a software which can be used to track some of these guru trades. These are legendary investors' trades. Now, they do have a free trial, and they also have an advanced premium version. I'm on the premium right now for you guys, so I'll show you these latest buys. And basically, we've got Ray Dalio, who's the world's largest hedge fund manager. He's added to his position at approximately $66 per share on average for First Solar. And then we've also got George Soros, the legendary George Soros, at a similar price. And we've got Joel Greenblatt, who's a legendary value investor. So there's many major investors who are bullish on this stock. So that first caught my attention with this company. And then when I dug a little bit deeper, it seems this company is really poised to actually take off in the renewable energy space. So diving into my deep dive advanced valuation spreadsheet. So you might have seen a spreadsheet I did previously on how to value companies using discounted cash flow. I do have a download link for that previous spreadsheet in the VIP group. This one is a new one that I'm testing out at the moment. This is actually created by a valuation professor at New York University. All I've done is customize it to, I think, improve the usability of it, because the usability of it was not that great. So I've just really improved the usability of it and added in a few sort of notes to actually remind myself of different financial metrics. So this is a really advanced spreadsheet. If you guys really want to take your investing game to that next level and even understand business and business fundamentals a lot more, then I highly recommend downloading the spreadsheet. You can download it from the Valuation Professor. My version, I think, is much easier to use. Either one, it's up to you. There's a link for the VIP group in the description below. You also get access to my other spreadsheet, which I think is pretty easy to value. Anyway, let's dive into this. So give you a brief guide of how I've used this. So first, we've got the industry. So I've typed in, obviously, green and renewable energy in the industry growth. Then I've got the revenues, put in the revenues for the previous year, also the operating income of the company, the book value of equity, so that includes all the assets, cash, etc. Book value of debt, so we can see the amount of debt the company has. And then I've also capitalized R&D expenses. So R&D is something which traditional accounting states is an operating expense, but to capitalize it basically means you're spreading the cost out over a number of years because you expect to gain value from that in the future. It's a technicality. I could do a full video on that if you guys want that. Cash the company has, they have $1.7 billion in cash. So I've filled in all the other metrics. Many of these large companies have what's called an effective tax rate. So they have the tax rate which they pay and then the tax rate which everybody else pays. And many of the companies do pay a much lower tax rate, as you might not be surprised. So I filled in the revenue growth rate. I've been really conservative with this company. I've only put 10% revenue growth rate for this estimate. I've been really conservative because really I think it could grow 15 to 20%, even 25% per year. So I've really been conservative. Got the operating margin. We've got all the other details in here, and I've even added a few customizable inputs there. And to show you how advanced the spreadsheet is, so the net operating losses. So if this company had an unprofitable year, it can carry over those losses to actually reduce its taxes in previous years. And this spreadsheet really takes that into account. So it is really the advanced level we're looking at right now. Now, when I filled in all the details and calculated it, came up with an estimated value per share of $86. Now, the stock is currently trading at $81, so you could say it's slightly undervalued, maybe 6 to 7%, approximately 6.4% undervalued at the moment. So that could be a potential buying opportunity. However, this is something we need to realize with any valuation spreadsheet, any database, any software which we use as investors, as traders to actually make our decisions. They're just tools, but don't let the tools be smarter than your own brain. You make the decisions. Just let the data guide you and give you clues, but not actually force your decision. So I actually checked up a discounted cash flow calculation for this same stock, First Solar, and it came up on this website here that the fair value was just $11. So it says it's massively overvalued. So we can see we've got two very, very different approaches there. I don't agree with this one. I think this one's probably a little bit optimistic. So somewhere in the middle, most likely I think the fair value of this stock is where the legendary and value investors were purchasing this stock. So they were purchasing it around $66 per share, but they added to their position at around $85 per share. So I think the stock could still be good value right now. So that's quite close to this metric here. So definitely something to look at. And then we go on to stories to numbers. So this is an interesting method of looking at valuation. So we all have stories about stocks. They call them story stocks, especially Tesla. And it's all great and it's all well and good. And many people can invest off that story. But at the end of the day, those stories have to convert to numbers at some point. For example, Tesla autonomous vehicles. For example, if that actually happens, that could be an extra revenue stream. And that means the company's revenue should increase as it's an extra business advantage. For example, vertical integration. If a company decides to build its own factory or start doing its own lithium mining, that could potentially improve the company's margins. So you can see how it all sort of follows on and cascades down into a number we can use for valuation, which is the most difficult part of investing. So First Solar is vertically integrated, so from the raw materials to the manufacturer to even the recycling of solar parts. So I think that does give them a slightly more competitive advantage and should help them to maintain strong margins in the future. And I've inputted that into my valuation model. Now, the company's main competitors are Solar City, which is a Tesla subsidiary, and they have approximately 40% residential market share. So they are a really big one to actually watch out for, Solar City of Tesla. And then we've got Canadian Solar, which is the second stock I'm going to look at on this list. So they seem a lot more aggressive than this company. They seem to have a bit higher debt, but also could be a great growth play. So let's dive into the second company now. That is Canadian Solar, the competitor to First Solar. So Canadian Solar, ticker symbol CSIQ on the NASDAQ. Their stock now at the moment is down around 23%. First Solar's also down at the moment as there's been a rise in interest rates, and that's caused a correction with these stocks. So the stock price is currently around $46 per share. So I've done exactly the same. I've filled in all the details for Canadian Solar. Straight off the bat, it's pretty clear to see the companies have very similar amounts of revenue, but Canadian Solar actually seems a little bit more profitable, and they actually seem to be growing a little bit faster than First Solar. So that's the first thing I noticed. But I also noticed Canadian Solar has a lot more debt. So their book value of debt is $4 billion, like a lot of this long-term debt, but still, and the book value of equity is just $1.39 billion. So they have a lot more debt, but they're growing a little bit faster. So this is all things we need to take into account with our valuation. So diving into the final valuation model, and this is where I stated about you can't trust models fully, you can just use them as a guide, because it basically said the stock is massively undervalued. It says the fair value of the stock is nearly $200 per share. Now, I don't personally believe that. I think I think the fair value of the stock is probably approximately around where it is at the moment. According to the discounted cash flow calculation, fair value is $28 per share. So these are all numbers we can look at. Of course, if they all add up from all different sort of softwares that we use, then we know that could be a great buying opportunity. And that is when we can load up the truck on these investments. So personally, I do like Canadian Solar, even at these levels at around $45 per share. I do like Canadian Solar. If they did drop down to around $25, $30 per share, I would definitely load up the truck on this investment. So if we compare diversification globally between Canadian Solar and First Solar, we can see Canadian Solar has operations in 23 countries. And in 2019, the company earned 44% of its revenues from Americas, 32% from Asia, and 24% from Europe and other regions. By contrast, First Solar earned 80% of its revenue from the US. So it's clear that Canadian Solar is more diversified globally. So that's actually great to see and could be great from a risk perspective. And over the past 10 years, First Solar's revenue grew at a compound annual growth rate of just 4%. And that's much lower than Canadian Solar's compound annual growth rate in the revenue of 18%. So Canadian Solar plans to grow by accessing low-cost capital from the Chinese stock market through an IPO, and it plans to use the capital to expand its capacity and increase the level of vertical integration. So it's not currently vertically integrated compared to First Solar. So there's positives and negatives on both sides for these companies, but I do like Canadian Solar. They're a little bit more aggressive. So I'm sure you guys are wondering, what am I doing? Which one am I buying, First Solar or Canadian Solar? Well, here's a big shocker for you guys. I actually own both stocks, so I decided to invest into both companies. Canadian Solar is my slightly more high risk, aggressive growth play, and First Solar is my more conservative, low debt, vertically integrated, sustainable play. So I've invested into both companies. My average price has been around $70 per share for First Solar, $70 to $80 per share for First Solar. Even at these levels, it's not too bad to start a small position, and if the stock drops lower, you could potentially increase your position in these stocks. That's if you want some exposure to the solar renewable energy industry, which I personally do. Now, this video is not financial advice, guys, but I do hope it helps you out a lot to make your own investing decisions on these stocks and whichever stocks you want to invest in the market. And with that being said, if you guys found some value in this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. That helps out tremendously with the YouTube AI. If you're new around here and you still haven't subscribed, feel free to join the investing family by hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on. And if you do want to take things one step further, why not check out that first link in the description below for the VIP membership group, where you can access exactly which stocks I'm buying, which stocks I'm selling, my entire investment portfolio, a thriving community of some of the finest people on the internet, and of course you can download all these spreadsheets I've used in this video, including all the numbers already plugged in for you, so you guys can have a play around and improve your own investing skills. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have an incredible day, and I'll see you in my next video. Invest safe.